Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with Startuptrading.com. It's 10 o'clock in New York, July 20th, 2020. Economic news events this week. I just want to go over, since it's the beginning of the week, some of the Red Star events. We're going to have 10:30 tonight, Australian dollar. Tomorrow, core retail sales for the Canadian dollar. And then nothing till Friday for Red Star events, which is going to be out of the Eurozone over the night session, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. news. But as far as today goes, at 11:10, we're going to have MPC member Haldane speaking and MPC member Torreno speaking for the Great Britain pound. And then national core CPI for the Australian dollar or the Japanese yen, monetary policy meeting minutes, and then RBA Governor Lowe speaking for the Australian dollar. Also, there's earnings this week that Perry's been going over, and he'll go over some of the bigger earnings events that could potentially move the market. And I titled this video Multi-Year Breakout in Silver because guess what? We have a multi-year breakout in silver. Last week, we were pushing up on the 1755 level, which I was really hoping we were going to clear above. We didn't. We closed the week right on that. And Sunday in the overnight session, we began our move up towards and through that profit target. So it's like a 2011 was that profit target here this morning. Now we're through it, and this is the high of 2019. We had the pressure on it in the prior day, but now the next high is 2016, and that's all the way up at 2122. So I don't really see us having any major resistance till 2122. There is a weekly leg start I will mark up here. And that's at like a 2041, probably going to be the next at least light resistance level above. So just, once again, something to pay attention to. Silver just continues to be in this very aggressive bid from the low. It's almost double its price, which is pretty impressive for a commodity. Not necessarily a stock, obviously, but double the price or the lows in March. Now, if we go down to the hourly time frame, last week we spent the majority of the week inside of what was a traditional 50% retracement long. It was Thursday's low to, at the time, it was Monday's high. There was a halfway back on Monday. We made a slight new high, and bids came right in at that halfway back again. Now, we went straight up and completed those targets here early this morning and immediately began extensions from Thursday's high. Thursday's high to high was a 20.05, and we traded those, and within 15 minutes, we're already back at the high. The upside profit target is a 20.30 here on this extension in silver, and then, we'll be in a same anchor new high sequence. I'll go over gold as well. Gold finished the day basically at highs on Friday. We have broken out of what was the top side of this wedge I had drawn, and we broke out of it right around 4 a.m. There was the extension. The extension was from 17.99.8 to high. That has completed. The same anchor new high traded a 38% retracement. Our upside target is 18.26. Our upside target is 18.26 here, and that is that monthly leg start. Everything above 18.26, if we can get a daily close above 18.26, this thing will really get moving. Moving on to the VIX, which is in an extension sequence, and we just continue to get hit here. This extension sequence goes back to Wednesday's low before the open, and there was our first anchor that traded a target on Friday. In the overnight session, we had a same anchor new low that is completed here. We're down near at lows, but a same anchor new low. The 38% retracement could be looked at as a resistance level. It's a 26.50. 26.50. For the S&P 500, now I was hoping we could come back into this full 50% retracement from what was last Tuesday's low to high. We've spent 1, 2, 3. This is like the fourth day of range trade, which doesn't make it too exciting. So one of the things I always like to do is, well, if we keep bouncing off this 31.89, which technically is a 38% retracement of the full halfway back long, what is there another sequence in there? And I want to go back and just look at what happened on that Tuesday. There was a full 50% retracement back that was aggressively front run on Tuesday. Now, once that traditional completed, we initially began extensions. This extension has broken its 61 multiple times. Now, we really haven't gotten well below that 61. Let me get rid of the extended session here and just see what that looks like. Yeah, and that's kind of what I figured. During the regular trading hours, this 61.8 is not broken. It's not broken. And so, in cases like this where we don't break the 61.8 during the regular trading hours and we do spend, 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth day, you can see a respect off the 38, respect off the 50, bids off the 61. So I just look at that as evidence to assume that there's a program attached to this anchor and say, okay, well, that's going to give us our next upside target as long as we continue higher. 3244.75. The VIX is going straight down right now. 3244.75 would be the extension anchor's target from the 31.66 quarter. Okay, now we still have the possibility of trading this full 50% retracement long at 31.74 quarter. That's still a valid support level, but right now, if we do continue higher, we want to be aware of the extension. Moving on to the Dow, which is on the weaker side of things. Last week, the support level I had, if we broke down, was this blue line. I haven't moved it. The level, you turn the coefficient on. The level was 26,345. Now that traded in the overnight session, but the Dow is actually pretty weak here out of that Wednesday high. I mean, the Dow had like a blast off Tuesday, Wednesday, incredible move. We completed a short target in the overnight session, and based on the completion of that short target, we had our next measured move. There was a 50% retracement short in the overnight session. I think that was right before the open or either right after it. I have to go down a smaller time frame. That was sold into here. Let's see, right at 9:30, right at the open. Actually, we were sold into a 50% retracement short in the Dow. So, we can continue to sell off, and technically we are in valid 50% retracement shorts with a downside target of 26,205. Now, I do want to be aware of what would be the full halfway back long of Friday, the 10th to high, and that would give us 26,178, which would be right below the current target. That'll be a very important level here to watch this week. The NASDAQ is picking up steam. The NASDAQ was the weaker market last week, underperforming the S&P, which is pretty rare. Obviously, we opened up on highs on Monday and then just got completely destroyed. Now, we spent last week inside of a full halfway back short. In fact, we're still at that full 50% retracement short. This is much more of a range-bound market in the NASDAQ than we have been used to so far out of the March lows. Now, there is the 50% retracement. The original 50% retracement that traded on Tuesday was what came back and held here on Thursday, and then we bid out of it again. And then so far this week, I do want to follow the sequence. I think the low of the day to high has traded and completed its profit target. So there really isn't much for the higher time frame outside of like broken halfway back retests. But what we would look for is if we would break above the full 61.8, then the first halfway back after that would be incredible. Otherwise, this traditional completes targets. We'll have a next measured move, and if that next measured move breaks, then all that will be is a break of a sequence off of a retest of a halfway back short. We're going into the halfway back short from last week, and it's just a retest, and that retest is confirming its resistance once again if we break this. So the NASDAQ, we go from literally the NASDAQ does nothing but go up. The NASDAQ is now in more of a range trade. It absolutely is. So there isn't much for continuation sequences. You just have to pay attention to kind of the higher time frame levels. I am going to leave up this original 50% retracement long because it respected Wednesday, and then Friday overnight. It's a little sloppy, but that's what you're gonna have in ranges. Moving on to CL, which just retested the 40.03 support. Just retested the 40.03 support. This halfway back long was traded Wednesday before the market. Now, obviously, we had, like we typically do, the oil report on Wednesday. The oil report led us to a new high, but we never completed targets. So we just came into this retest. We were looking for this retest all last week. It is just traded as a 40.03. Upside targets are 41.46, and we're still bullish above 39.81. You can see the reaction off of that. The USD JPY came into a second test of a 50% retracement short from the highs of June 30th to low. We traded it once last Tuesday. We traded it twice on Thursday. We dipped in, and we've been selling off aggressively ever since. Multiple daily downside targets in the USD JPY, with the latest one 106.27. 106.27. The Aussie dollar on the higher time frame has a bullish bias. I mean, if you look at the daily, it does just continue to grind higher. So we've already had multiple tests of the short. I'm going to eliminate it because, at this point, when you have a bullish bias on a daily, you don't really want to be looking for second and third tests of a daily short. Coming out of what was the lows of June 30th, there was a 50% retracement long. Now, that level traded again here. Okay, it was front run multiple times, completed targets last Wednesday, and then what was Tuesday's low, too high. It was a little sloppy. We did pierce the 61, but it was towards the end of the day. We continue to come back and respect this 50% retracement at 69.78. 69.78 has been our support here in the AUDUSD, and as soon as we can break out of the 50% retracement short, we would confirm our upside targets of 60 or 70.64. 70.64. The euro has this untested halfway back long. Now we're going to the top of the range, back to the bottom. It is a little sloppy on this higher time frame. We technically did re-engage an extension with that new high. So there was the 113.44 to high extension that traded last week. Since we made a new high, that extension can be used again. The 114.05 has just traded. The 114.05 has just traded, and that is a valid extension. The higher time frame, 50% retracement long, is down at 113.60. 113.60. The pound, this thing has been at a huge range. I mean, we're going from like the 125 up to the 126.40. 140 pip range back and forth. That's a really big range for a currency. The last move out of the range all the way back here at the highs. Sooner or later we will get a 50% retracement long that holds, but from Tuesday's rally, that low to high didn't hold. We didn't hold a short. We didn't hold a long. They tried to hold a short, and then we broke back out of the high. So there's really nothing to do here in as far as like, hey, try to get by the long. Nope, try to buy. No, it's just not working. So the only thing we can watch is right now. I just identifying it, seeing what I see. I probably have to go to a 5-minute chart, and there's definitely a sequence in here. But yeah, out of lows, halfway back long, and then we blew through targets, extension, blew through targets, extension. See, make new high, extension, and yep. So there's an extension anchor here, and it's all intraday. It's all intraday. We're bullish above 126.03. If we fail 126.03s, then we're going, most likely we're just going to have to say back to the bottom of the range because we just have not yet seen a long trade and react. So it's dangerous to buy. The USDCAD is at a 50% retracement long from the low of Thursday to high. Now we've already traded the first test. We're sitting on a second test. It's definitely something to pay attention to. Its upside target would be a 136.22. 136.22. But that's going to wrap up my morning trade plans. Silver and gold are some of the more technical markets. Indexes are dead in the water. Gold, oil has a retest, so based on where it's coming off from, is pretty interesting. And yeah, this 140.06 level here in the euro is also interesting. But I would say as far as intraday series, gold, oil, and even the pound right now with as aggressive as it's moving. But these indexes continue to be in a chop fest more than they have been lately. So you do just need to be aware of that. All that means is, most likely smaller targets, guys. It's very hard to swing when we're being choppy. You need to be aware of both support and resistance levels. There's not too much of a trend. So if you're like looking for every new target to get hit, it's going to be a frustrating day. So that's all I got to say here. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys in the trade room. Take care. So that's all I got to say here. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys in the trade room. Take care.